Thank you. I'm just making that up as I go along. I'll be doing more. There's 3 of you here. Hello, Sonia, Phil, and a third person who has not checked in yet. Welcome. It's Friday. It's just a check-in Friday. I'm feeling still struggling with it, but we'll be all right. C to G, or G to C, I should say. I want to try some different progressions today. Hey guys, I don't know, check your side of things. There are gifts now that we have, goals and gifts and stuff like that. And I don't know how, if you guys can see that on your side, for like your super whatever. Man, this concussion has really kicked my butt. I can't even think. All right. Let's see. Shall we do E major with a 1, 4, 2, 5. I think I've done this chord progression before. 1, 4, 2, 5. That's all right. We'll do it in E major. All right. Let me see. I want to find the right positions to play it in. So I could do just a regular E major. And then I could do a suspended A. Oh, that's beautiful. Well, actually, it's just the last 4. That's an A suspended second. That's a beautiful, beautiful set of notes. Beautiful chord. And then I could do, okay, this is really weird, an F sharp over G flat minor 11. Okay, so all that is you're taking that A suspended second chord and you're going to drop this index finger right here. And now I don't like that chord. I don't like that position. I don't like that chord. I just don't. But I feel like A minor today for some reason. So what do I want to do? No. Let me see here. I want to look up. Let's see. Don't worry, guys. This is just chilling out. Okay. So I'm going to take A minor chord progression. I used to know this stuff, guys. It's been a long time. That's for piano. Give me a chord chart. Chord chart. Okay. So let's do it this way. Major. I don't want the majors. Screw it. Let's just think. Man, it is hard for me. Some days. I had a beautiful day today. Everything went perfect. I was on time with everything. I was actually early. I beat the schedule. I did things faster than they thought I would. And outside of the sloppy snow this morning, it became sunny. And it was nice. And then I came home. I had some pizza. And I took about a 30-minute nap. And now I'm just mush. So I really like, so when I play, I like the minor keys. Obviously, that goes into the melancholy. But I love those half notes, man, or those half steps. this is the A harmonic minor chord or scale. I can't even think straight. Also known as the Hungarian scale. Now, for those of you who don't play guitar, here's the beautiful thing about those scales. Now, I take my low E. All right. So the notes on this string, the lowest string that you're going to use, those are going to be your root notes. So you've got your open E, your E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, okay, so on and so that A harmonic minor starts 5th fret, which is the A note. I went a little far, but it's supposed to end here. Now, if I wanted the B harmonic minor, I would use the same pattern. All I'm going to do is shift the finger position. So that A being on the 5th fret, half step up is A sharp or B flat. There's my B, starting on the 7th fret, so the same pattern. That sounds really good together. And of course, if I wanted it to be the C harmonic minor, B and C are only a half step apart. So I go up 1 fret, and there's your C. Oops. So that's how that works. It's the same thing when it comes to any of your scales, really. So if I wanted to do the major scale, G major would be on the 3rd fret, starting with that low E. Okay. Oops. G sharp major. Oh my God, I'm still trying to do the harmonic minor. Ah. Come on, Brian. Do you see how I still struggle? That kick to the head, it's disrupted my life. Find a note, find a note. No, we don't want that. Find Django Horvat. Okay, I'm not catching the reference, dude. I'm not catching the reference. Oh my God, Phil. You are full of references, my friend. My dear friend. Okay. So I could do this 1, 4, 2, 5 in C major. So that would be a C, an F, a D minor, and a G. Kind of bleh, but so there's your C. Here's your F major. Or if I just wanted, that is those 3 together. That's beautiful. Yeah. So what do I have cooking for the channel? Well, tonight I'm gonna re-release that Bruno Mars. So what happened with that? And that's one of the things that's um, a big challenge for the channel when it comes to copyright material is putting together a lot of time and effort into these videos, and then there's just these arbitrary copyright blocks that you have to go through a dispute process. Typically I win them, some of them I don't. And then what happened is after like 48 hours they usually lift the block, and then the video is live or published, and nobody saw it. I've got like nearly 8,000 views on the first Bruno Mars reaction, and then the second one after a day only had like 25 views. So still fighting the algorithm, which is ridiculous. So what I did is I took it down, and then I have it scheduled to come up at 7 o'clock. In about 35 minutes. Phil, I'm in communication right now with certain management is texting me. So give me a second. Regarding the hopefully channel changing, life changing stuff. Okay. Django Reinhardt, the famous jazz guitarist who, okay, all you had to do was say jazz and my brain shut off. That's what happens. Jazz? Oh, jazz. That stuff. It's jazz. You would think somebody with some ADHD would appreciate jazz, because that's kind of what my brain does, is jazz stuff, the way it thinks. But no. Anyways, it's not that I haven't listened to jazz. I have. I just, man, it is so. I have to be in the right mood for that. I really do. I mean, I've listened to Coltrane. I've listened to Miles Davis, Alan Holdsworth. I've listened to him. That was way back. The only kind of jazz that I can kind of get into is like the jazz fusion, like Al Di Meola. His stuff was always fun to listen to when I was first. So that was the period of my musical listening. I would say probably around 15, 16 years old as well. Yeah. Yeah, 15, 16 years old is when I discovered my passion for music. Again, I knew songs. I heard songs, but it wasn't until I had my Sony Walkman on, and I was going for a walk, and I was cutting behind the Greenfield Police Station, and I'm listening to Laser 103, and Working Man comes on. That was it. What is Working Man? What is this? Who is this band? Oh, they're called Rush. That was amazing. Holy cow. That was it. That started my journey. And as I've highlighted on the channel, that ballooned into Zeppelin and Jethro Tull, Savatage eventually. They didn't come on until later, onto my musical scene until later. So Tull was really the third. And then Savatage and then I started hearing Chris Oliva, and I'm like, oh my God, this guy is like the best ever. And I still think if he was alive today, he'd be better than just about all of them. Where was I going? Oh, with the jazz. So that's when I started my discovery of guitar players, my intentional discovery, because guitar became like this thing for me. And I got myself a guitar. It was a Lotus guitar. I think I spent $100 on it. It had this really high action. It was crazy. And I, I made a cassette recording of me doing like, I had no idea what I was doing. I mean, literally what you just heard was probably what I was doing. And to me, it was music, and I recorded it. And I'm like, okay, I know a lot of this is junk, and some of my friends I'm sharing with it. And there were certain parts that kind of made musical sense. I'm like, oh, this is great. I know I suck, but this is great, And then I got the guitar, and I fell in love with guitar. I put down art. I really loved sketching and drawing. I would spend hours. I wouldn't even know how long, just drawing. And then guitar came along, and I put down the pencils and picked up the guitar and never got way too far with it. And then I started trying to discover all the different guitar players that I loved. And sometimes friends would introduce me to certain names. Other times I would pick up on it on the radio or in discussions with other people. And sometimes, and I don't know if you can relate to this, Phil, is actually, you know what? I want to put up a goal, because I need to start doing this. Things are not good right now. So let's see if I can. I keep putting this one up, but nobody seems to want. There we go. There it is. And let me know if you guys see an option for gifts, like super gifts or something like that. It's something that YouTube has just started on these live streams, and I don't know if I can't see it right now on mine. I don't know if you guys can see it on yours, if you're allowed to. Anyways, so as far as the guitar players, jazz guitar players go, I would go to like the local Sam Goody, and that's where I bought all my cassette tapes. And sometimes I would just look through the tapes, and I would look at like the cool album covers. And I'd be like, oh, let's try this, And so sometimes it was accidental discovery, sometimes it was purposeful discovery, sometimes it was suggestions. So I got into Al Di Meola, and then through him was this, because when he was with Al Di Meola, Paco de Lucia, and John McLaughlin. They did a few albums together. Those were pretty intense, pretty awesome. And so I started listening to Paco de Lucia for a little bit. Not too much of John McLaughlin, because it was still too jazzy for me. And then Alan Holdsworth was a name. I don't know where he popped up, but I still have all my old cassette tapes. I forget which one I got. Let's see, Phil, if you remember. I know you've probably listened to Um, yeah, you see the goal, but do you see if there's an option for gifts, for gifting? Because that was a new thing that I just enabled last week. That is a new option as well. So let me know if you see it. Um, Alan Holdsworth, what albums did I have of his? I'll know it when I see it. Or maybe he's got so many that I don't. Wow, where is it? Wardenclyffe Tower from 92. Yeah, that would be right around the time that I started exploring. So 92 was. And then my journey went into uh, different aspects. I started paying attention to interviews, especially with Rush. And Neil Peart had an influence on some of the music that I picked up on. Um, so did Alex Lifeson. He wanted this was back when Eric Johnson first. Well, not, I shouldn't say first came on the scene, but was really big with Cliffs of Dover off of Avia Musicom. Alex Lifeson was a real big Eric Johnson fan, so Rush brought him on tour and opened up for them. And I believe that was 93 with the Counterparts tour, and I was there for that one. That was a good show. Bradley Center, Milwaukee. Phil, you'll remember that. And then Neil Peart. What are the ones that he introduced me to? Okay, Live, the band Live. Now they were on the radio, but he had mentioned that was one that he really liked. And so I started paying attention to them more and started understanding why, at least from my own perspective. Dusty Springfield. Neil Peart really liked Dusty Springfield. He also liked the Beach Boys. Pet Shop, I believe, was the name of the album, which I wound up getting a copy of eventually. And I'm like, oh, wow. You know, I heard all the radio hits, but I didn't hear that album until I got the album. You know what I mean? And then I heard it, and I'm like, oh, my God. That is so awesome. Let's see, what else? And then for a time, when I moved out of Milwaukee, in my isolated years up north, I was sort of regurgitating all the stuff that I used to listen to. And then I discovered, I started diving into Christian music a little bit. Don't see the gift option? Okay. And that's when I discovered DC Talk. And I thought DC Talk was just amazing. And I still think they're amazing. And I think I don't know if they were the pioneers, but they were certainly at the forefront of integrating secular music with Christian lyrics. So rap and rock and that sort of stuff. That's really when they started. They like late 80s, early 90s, somewhere in there. And then they disbanded and went off and did their own things. But I was listening to like Audio Adrenaline and Grandma Train. Those are a couple other Christian groups. And then that was like, for me, that would have been mid to late 90s. And then in the early 2000s, I met a pair of brothers, amazing guys, up in Minocqua, and we struck a friendship. and more music was introduced into my vocabulary. And this, Sonia, is where Catatonia and Opeth and Nightwish started creeping into my life, and that's like blew me away. I'm like, oh my god. Now they also are really big black metal and death metal fans, and I'm not. You know, that sort of stuff doesn't. You know, I know what my ears like, and I know Opeth is like death metal, but they're kind of progressive and they're kind of weird. They're like this enigma. Um, and I never really took their death metal seriously because I really don't think like even though they live in that genre, I still don't think that they are that genre. You know what I mean? But the doom metal with Catatonia, that struck a chord with me. And notes. Oh, you see what I did there? Um, and then marriage happened. And then later on, kids happened. And then later on, as part of the saving my mental sanity as things were getting toxic, I started the channel. The channel actually started in 2016 is when I set it up, but I didn't really start doing anything until 2018. And then it was slow going from there. What do I want to do? Listening to people saying, hey, you got to check out Tool more. You got to check out, Taylor Swift. You got to, okay, whatever. Just, I want some viewers here and subscribers, and I'm willing to check out music. And then it ballooned from there. You guys have been along for the ride. And the Filipino artists are just absolutely amazing. I have such a respect for them, for one in particular, that goes beyond. There's just something that happened in that moment that is not just some sort of fancy, something real that goes beyond explanation. So that and it comes from the love of music. It comes from this connection that music brings people, where you can take people from different age groups, all the different demographics, and all of that goes away when music hits the scene. There's just something that vibes with, my kids. Let's take for example, they have their own musical interests, but my musical interests are grounded in them. And they like that stuff because that's, music's always been a part of their life. Even when they were babies, there was always a radio on 24/7 in the house. And that reminds me, one of the artists that 91.1 The Avenue, it's gone through some name changes, and I don't know if it's still called The Avenue here in Appleton. They play some eclectic music, and there's another artist that I'm going to start doing some reactions on. Not that I'm like love the music. Actually, there's a couple, and that was a result of listening to that radio station. Ray LaMontagne, I'm sure that you've probably heard of Ray LaMontagne. And of course, John Mayer, right? Gravity is like, oh my God, I love that song. That is so freaking amazing. In fact, that's one that I meant to start learning on guitar. Was it Gravity? Yeah, it was Gravity. So what led me to create my channel? So the channel was created back in 2016. I'm just trying to think what was going on in my life at that time. I needed an outlet. or I had an inspiration. I forget exactly what it was, but it was 2018, I think it was, that I started doing something with the channel because I needed an outlet. I'm not going to get into deeply personal issues, but that was the in those years, um, the bell was tolling for the marriage, and the pressures of everything that was going on. I needed something. And one day I was looking at a family album and just sort of looking at all these people I never met. And I'm talking about, you know, my great grandfather and his brothers and sisters. And I was looking at the album and I said, you know what? I have kids and they're going to have kids. And I'm going to be one of those people eventually that one of my descendants looks at it in a photo and says, I wonder what his voice sounded like. I wonder what he thought. I wonder where he stood on matters. I wonder about him. I don't know what my great grandfather sounded like. And then it dawned on me, we live in a technological age and I can record this stuff for posterity. And so now, fast forward to 2026, and I have over 2,300 videos on this channel that span a range of topics, but I finally settled on music. And one day when I'm not around, because that happens to all of us eventually, my kids are going to be able to go back and remember my voice and see my expressions, and it's like a virtual photo album is really what it came down to. And now it's become a mission. It's become a mission, and I don't mean like converting people. If people if people come to Christ through things that I say, God bless them. And I really hope that happens. When inspiration strikes, I've got a Brandon Lake sitting in my editing software that I have to finish. That one I opened up on, and hopefully somebody somewhere hears it and it does something for them. But there's got to be goodness out there in the world, and we have to shine our light, and we have to love one another, and that's what I'm hoping to do out of this. So there's definitely multiple purposes for the channel. And then of course I opened up my second channel, Chords and Notes Plays, but I haven't done much with that yet. But I will. Oh, it's this chair. It's a recliner. That's not necessarily conducive to playing guitar, but whatever. I do what I want. I do whatever it is I want. So I really like those seventh chords and the ninth chords. So and when the sevenths and ninths, you can use them together. I like to do that a lot. So, okay, what's the difference? All right. let's start with an open shape. So I have this A minor, right? Okay, here, here, and here. If I get rid of that guy and I just have it on those two, we now have an A minor 7. So the same pattern holds true when you bar, because you're taking the same shape, right? So here's that A minor shape with these 3 fingers, okay? And here's the bar, which is kind of like the nut up there, right? So if I remove that guy, now I have a 7th. Here's my 9. I go down. This is G9, G major 9. So that's just minor to minor, right? A minor to E minor. So now let's do 7 to a 9. You hear the difference? The quality of the tone, the quality of the chord is different, and it gives it this extra dimension. So if it was just, let's just say it was a G major, okay, that's cool. If it's just a G minor, all right, a G major 7. But let's make it a G major 9. So it's kind of got a little bit of that major and minor mix in it. I like that. Yes, those are the reasons, and I'm okay with sharing. We're on a mission from God, the Blues Brothers. Oh, it's 90 miles to Chicago. We got a half a pack of cigarettes, a full tank of gas. It's nighttime, and we're wearing sunglasses. Let's roll. I'm butchered that one, but yeah, Blues Brothers. Oh my God. Phil walked into a bar one day. He said, "Ouch." And Grace said, "Don't walk into that bar, Phil. Why didn't you see that?" Whoa. Woo. Gotta go up here. Oh my God. I'm just totally losing it, guys. I need a pick. A plectrum. You know what? Check this out. I am going to make one right now. That's right. I am going to make a pick in front of your eyes. Look at that. Watch and be amazed. I said I need, whoa, look at, oh, isn't that amazing? All right, here we go. I said I needed a pick, so I'm going to make a pick. Now, I have a pick. What was it? Wolski's. I don't know Wolski's, dude. I don't know Wolski's. Let's see if I can do this. Come on, Super Chat babies. There's 4 people watching. So, yeah, I lived in Milwaukee, but I didn't do much in Milwaukee, Phil. Okay, I was a Greenfield boy. You were a Franklin boy. I was a Greenfield boy. And we didn't go into Milwaukee because that's where all the bad things happened. Remember? So we just sort of stood out in the burbs at that time. West Dallas creeped me out, for goodness sake. Why would I want to go into Milwaukee? Well, the museum... I don't like big cities. Appleton's becoming a big city. I mean, we're still only... Well, we'll see what the next census brings, but we're over 75,000. But if you take all of the Fox Valley, which is rapidly becoming connected, especially because of the I-41 restoration project that's going on, if you take the population from Green Bay down to Oshkosh, all around the Fox Valley, you're talking over 300,000 people. And I want to get out. I want to get out. I want 40 acres of land. I want a house. If I have to live by myself, then I live by myself. I want to be able to be away. You know, it doesn't have to be 40 acres, you know, but I want enough land to keep people away. You know what I mean? And with my job, I'm around people all the time, especially on the roads. Let's try something here. I want to focus back on playing again. Oh, that's No One at the Bridge. And I haven't played that in a while. That's up on my Notes Plays channel. But let's see if I can remember how to play it. And of course, I probably will not be able to monetize this because the algorithm's gonna sense the music, but that's okay. $19.99 for 2 pizzas and 2 sides. Oh yeah, it's Domino's perfect combo. Not that, John.
So I bought a $30 Amazon ab stimulator and the Ultra stimulator to see the difference. The cheap one.
Hold on. I gotta get the chords. I haven't played that in years. Da 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 da. Ba da dum bum bum ba ba. Ya da 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 da. Just a second, I'll have this down in a moment. I can play along again. Is that right though? It's gonna have to do. It will have to do, folks. Here we go. Let's try it again. Hopefully you can pick up the sound from the phone. Oh, yeah. Wow, it has been years since I played that. Years. Holy cow, that was fun. What else do we got going on? So, here's the plan for the channel. I will get back into more of the versus reactions. I'm a little disappointed that some of the ones that do not feature Filipino artists aren't doing as well. I'm going to keep pressing away at those, though, pushing those because it's all about the music here with me, and I'm not going to cater to just one audience, if that makes sense. Let's see. I've got one person left. I think I know who that is. Don't I? All right. I think I'm going to wrap this up. Not that I don't want to, or not that I don't want to stay, but we are an hour now. And I need a little bit of a break. So there you go. Thanks for being here, guys. Bye.